Hey, what's up everybody? Spabrog here and welcome to the H-Hour Weekly Community Update number 4. I'm super excited to bring you this video today because recently SOF Studios dropped a new map Temple along with the game mode Breach. And this is the first time we've seen Breach appear in H-Hour, and let me tell you, it's an awesome fit. This week I'm going to do things a little bit different though, so usually for the weekly community update I talk about patch notes, then look over the quick look, and then we talk about overall topics that are going on within the community. But in honor of the map that just got released, I'd rather give you my first impressions and how we all feel about the map and some of the little intricacies within it. To start off, we'll begin with visuals. The one thing you can't deny right off the bat is that this map is aesthetically pleasing to the eye, as you can see in the footage. The jungle-like feel is something a lot of us have missed, and I know Russ did mention before that if Abandons were to have a baby, that this would be it. And that's pretty accurate, to be honest, because as you can see the jungle, you can see the moss on the rocks, you can see the concrete temple, the waterfall. It just feels like it has a lot of the elements from Abandoned. So playing it felt very nostalgic in a way, but at the same time very refreshing. The great thing about it is that when you play as SOF, it's a different kind of feeling. It feels like, on a very minor scale, the invasion of Normandy, where like you're getting to the water. In this case, you're getting to the doors. Then you just see this huge building in front of you that you know you have to breach and you have to get into. And it's very awesome. There's like multiple ways to get in, so you could get creative, and if you have the right teammates, everything, you know, it gets complicated if you don't have good teammates, but when you have the right ones, formulating a plan feels very tactical for the most part. And I feel like in the other game types we don't really have that. But yeah, inside the temple, again, it's a very concrete type of atmosphere, as you can tell. And then behind there you can still see a little bit of the jungle that's reminiscent of Abandoned, and also that's part of the map that we can't forget about. And you feel like you're in a jungle somewhere, so you get that atmospheric element, and it's pretty cool. Again, we haven't had that in a while. A lot of the maps in H-Hour, well, the 3 other maps are just like a town. One is in a factory, and the other one's like in the woods, so it's a woodland map. So jungle definitely has its own unique feel to it. So, but when you get inside, man, oh, Jesus Lord. These are one of the maps that when you get inside, right, you feel like every decision you make matters. So your quick second decisions get tested, your intelligence gets tested, your teamwork gets tested. And that's a cool feeling, because when you're inside the temple, everybody could see you somehow, unless you're very smart about it. And you have to be very conscious and very aware of your surroundings, and maybe like the field of vision that your opponent is trying to look at, right? And the explosiveness, it feels very similar to Anawapi in SOCOM 2. So for instance, okay, in Anawapi you would travel very hard, you get naded in the beginning, you get pre-naded, but if you play very patient as a SEAL and you actually get inside, when you get inside you're so worried that you're gonna get shot from the side, and then once you clear out the outside, you feel like, okay, and now I could finally attack the bomb, or the basement in Anawapi's case. So the basement obviously is a little bit different because there's cover in there. And in Temple, you pretty much see people, you know, camping inside the temple or on top. So you have this like kind of multiple layered, oh, where is he gonna be type thing, and then you just have to be very conscious of your radar and where your teammates are, and communication plays a pretty big role at that point. But yeah, so comparing it to Anawapi, in Anawapi when you get to the basement, it's like this is where stuff's gonna happen, because you know the majority of Anawapi, everybody just chilled in the basement and wait for the SEALs to come in. So basically once you get inside the temple, this explosiveness, excuse me, it happens just right in front of you, and you have to make the decision whether I should pop out and try to shoot this dude to help my teammate so he doesn't die. Should I push the top of the temple, risking my my position? And it just has a really good flow, and the risk reward of the map feels great. But yeah, so next off, I want to talk about the layout a little bit. Honestly, the layout is great. I love it. You could tell that they put a lot of careful consideration into the map. And I'm not just talking off of shock value. I've played a couple of games to be like, okay, this is a solid map. And honestly, for both sides, it feels very even. So starting from the SOF side, you spawn behind a wall with giant doors that seem to resemble something like the Great Wall of China. And the doors are opened in a way where you can't really see from the terrorist side whether someone's going to the left or to the right. The doors resemble pretty much Counter-Strike's Dust map, if you know Counter-Strike, which you should know because it's a good game. But yeah, when you reach the doors, you can either pop a right or a left, or you can keep going down the middle to approach the temple directly. And if you continue towards the middle, you see a variety of vibrant yellowish green plants with a middle house. And this is pretty much no man's land, but you can run through it because, you know, earlier in the round, they won't get there too fast unless you go very deep down the middle and you get naded. But yeah, so you keep going down the middle and then you see a small bridge over a pool of water. And if you continue forward, you'll reach the pool room, which also leads to the upstairs, and that'll get you to the main temple. You gotta be very cautious though, because the terrorists, they're usually waiting there because they get there faster. And since it's one of the two non-breachable entrances to get inside the main temple, you know, it's gonna be very heavily guarded. But yeah, so if we backtrack a little bit, back to the middle bridge, if you go to the left, you see a small underpass, and it leads you to the left tunnel. So if you go down that left tunnel, you'll reach the terrorist base in another breach, but we'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, going back to the doors rather, if you take the right staircase, you'll see a breachable point that'll lead you to go down a concrete path that leads you towards the top part of the temple. It's pretty risky, but if you can control the top of the temple, it's very rewarding. And there's also a spot that's pretty much like an Easter egg. There's a unicorn up there. I don't think I went up there in this video because I wasn't aware of it yet. But it was a cute little addition. But you could get up there, and it's basically another way to come from the right. So that's very cool to me. So you could get up there. There's a little gripe I have with the right breach at the beginning, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. I'm just hoping they push the breach that like a little bit further down. But yeah. So if you chose the left staircase again, you could go to that left tunnel where the underpass leads to the left tunnel as well. They're just two different tunnels, but they connect. And if you go straight down, you could basically get to the base without breaching, which again, it will be heavily guarded, and it's pretty easy to camp it. So it's probably not your first initial thought to go down because you're probably just gonna die. But there's another breach going down there on the left side that leads to the top of the main temple. So that's pretty good. You can use that to kind of push it. It's very hard to push it individually. Like if that's the only breach that's open, it's pretty easy to guard it. So I feel like the plan is to pretty much breach everything and then, you know, kind of confuse them and make them, you know, catch a blind side for the most part. Also, I just want to note that when you're at the doors, like by the spawn, it's basically like a wall as you walk to, you know, as you continue onto the paths to go to the tunnels or whatever. And you get actually a really nice visual of the main temple and anybody who's trying to toss nades or trying to rush. So if you're a sniper, feel free to snipe up here. I've got a couple sniping kills since this map's got released, so I'm really happy about that. And you can kill AFK people if their body's not showing. It's kind of hard to get the shot off, but it's possible. But yeah, we're gonna go back to the middle of the map where the bridges are. So if you run the big main bridge, not the small little bridge that leads to the pool room, but the main bridge, if you run, you get to the most direct, probably easiest to get to, and you know, attack the main temple. The breach right there in the middle, easy to breach. There's two of them, so there's a left one and a right one. You could breach either one. You could breach both if you want. You know, you do have unlimited stuns. I mean, stuns. Woo! I wish I had stuns. Unlimited C4. So what you see is that when you get there, you don't kind of, you know, since it's the middle, it's probably going to get pre-naded pretty heavily. And after you breach, you could either push inside or you could still hug the walls outside the main temple. And it's pretty cool because there's windows and there's like kind of like jail bars in the window, so you could sometimes toss a nade in there if you're good, because a lot of the times people are going to be camping there and try to see anybody's pushing. And also there's a lot of people who are camping towards the non-breachable entrance, so you'll see some gunfire there. It's kind of hard to get in there. The bars kind of deflect the bullets, but you could get some kills and definitely get some damage in. And it's cool if you want to be a warrior and stuff, but I feel like I've gotten killed way too many times in that little section of the map. But definitely an option if you're one of those. Yeah, so the option is there, man. Whatever you feel. I feel like there's a lot of ways to play the map. I don't feel like it's not like you could go left or you could just go right. You could go middle, right, down middle, middle right, left, left middle. It's cool. So there's like 6 my counting's bad. I'm not even gonna try right now, but I feel like there's 6 or 7 ways to get in, and there's a couple of sneaky ways to get in, but I think they're getting patched, so I'd rather not even talk about them. But yeah, so going to the terrorist stronghold, you'll see the terrorist spawn house in the back. It's actually good to kill people who camp in the towers on top of the temple. So you kind of want to, if you're kind of like iffy about rushing right away, go to the terrorist spawn house and you can kind of get a good field of vision of the terrorist camping on top of the temple or whatever. And it's pretty safe. It's easy to get to, and you get a decent amount of cover. The temple and the main temple in general it's great for cover. So for the terrorists, you see a lot of people proning, you know, on top of the temple, waiting to see people run across. And you know, being sneaky is very important in this map. I feel you can't just go freaking gung-ho on motherfuckers, you know. So you'll see a lot of proning on top of the map or just camping by the stairs, and you could travel underground and catch a lot of people. The thing is, like, you could be sneaky and prone and stuff, but that takes away a lot of your mobility. So your mobility is very important here, because once people know you're up top, you're basically screwed, because there's no way somebody's gonna come up, you know, and you're gonna just hear them. Because once you get that one kill, people know where you are, so your sneakiness goes away, but you get your mobility back, so that's good. But if you play it patient, people are gonna fall like right in your lap. So I like the risk reward in this situation. It's pretty cool. It keeps everybody on their toes. But yeah, the temple is U-shaped with 2 floors, as you can see, and there's great covers, and there's some bushes outside the temple, and you could even camp in one of the trees. Apparently I haven't got in there, but it's pretty cool. You see the artillery machine in the middle where the SOF plant, but it's super hard to plant against solid teams, so you always want to get that life lead, or in other words, you get the man down lead, and try to kill everybody. Is, you know, try to put yourself in an advantage numbers wise, and just get in there and plant, and make sure your team knows how to guard a plant, because oh man, I've had some struggle matches. But yeah, teamwork reigns supreme in the end, man. But the great thing about it is when you're inside, you're just so cautious. So like, again, I said this earlier, your survival instincts are just gonna kick in. Everything feels so fast paced that you're just gonna feel tested like most of the time. You know that one slight wrong turn can get you killed, and that goes for either side, SOF or a terrorist. Both sides have equal advantage, to me it seems at the moment. A lot of terrorists like to rush also, so if you're SOF, just camp the walls and just mop them up. It's super hard for them to regain the control of the map right after that, so you're basically, you know, at an advantage, and once you breach everything, it's pretty hard. So for them, at least, for the terrorists. And it's cool because it all comes down to who you're playing with and communication. So I love it because I feel like people actually have a reason to use their mics now. I feel like the modes before, elimination, demolition, sabotage. In demo and sabotage, you could kind of be solo for the most part. I feel like you can't run solo in breach. So cool stuff teamwork is back in the game, and it's very noticeable. And if you do play the map and you don't have a mic, you're gonna feel like you're kind of in the dark, unless you can hear people communicating. So I guess you're fine then. But I don't know. I have to play with the same dudes I always play with, because I know who I'm gonna get success with, and I'm not trying to take a loss. But yeah, as for Breach, man, it's an amazing fit to H-Hour, man. Russ's layout is awesome, and honestly, it was very well worth the wait. It brings me back to that SOCOM feeling, and I'm not just saying that because I love H-Hour, but it really does feel like the game is getting on its feet. They still need to adjust many things. I say this all the time, but the game doesn't feel too bare bones now. Honestly, my thing is that we need some animations that look a lot cleaner, better gun mechanics, and maybe some mines and claymores. Those are like my top 3 things. Mines and claymores would fit really well for this map. And overall, we just need more content and a lot more polish. But taking away the shock value of Temple, it really came out amazing. And when Sismus and Wolf Run have been touched up and fixed for good, we're gonna have 4 solid maps with replayability. And yeah, man, that's gonna be sick. If they could fix those 2 maps, even just playing Medley now is pretty fun, because we get 2 good maps and 2 like eh. But whatever. I know Russ already said that he's gonna change it. I said it in my videos that he already addressed that these maps are gonna get tuned up. I hope it's soon, man. But yeah. So Factory and Temple are definitely my favorite at the moment, and man, I know things are just gonna get better. So let's continue on. So basically, as of now, we don't really have great FPS. It's pretty average for me. I run like 35, so it's playable, and it's good for footage at least, and I'm happy about that. But it does need to get optimized, and we want to play this at the highest frame rate possible. And I'm actually playing on low settings, so on lowest settings it's still at 30 for the most part for a lot of people. And I'm not too happy at the moment, but I guess because the map is here, nobody's really noticing it. But they did say they're gonna fix the lighting, because that's like the main issue. If you see like the characters kind of glow in a weird way, they have like a substitute for the lighting, but it doesn't render properly. So I'm hoping to see that very soon, maybe by the end of the week, probably on Friday. But yeah, that's for gripes. I guess that's pretty much it. And the other one I was talking about earlier, there's a gripe I have on the right side. As you can see in the footage, the right side, if you go up, you take the breach. So there's a breach right there, like at that opening, and you're not really at advantage when you breach. They could kind of like pre-fire and nade you, and I did a timer thing where I tested the times, and they actually get there about like 10 seconds earlier before you. So pretty interesting. But I think they should push the breach a little bit further. That's pretty much it though, guys. I appreciate you guys for watching, and honestly, if you haven't touched H-Hour at all because you were waiting for more content, I feel like it's a good time to test out the game. Or if you haven't played in a while, definitely you want to touch it now. It's fun. It's coming together slowly but surely. But yeah, guys, thanks again. If you guys liked the video, leave a thumbs up. If you want to see more H-Hour content, leave a sub. Also follow me on Twitter at Mr. Spab. That's MRSPAB. And also follow me on Twitch. I stream H-Hour. I haven't got to recently because I've been pretty busy. It's twitch.tv/spab_rog. Also, don't forget to show SOF Studio some love on Twitter. They deserve it. They're doing some really good stuff. But yeah, guys, thanks again. I'll catch you next time. Peace.